There you go. Okay, perfect. So I will start, and then people can join as and when they need. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Angus. I work for Origin Immunity Solutions. I work for the company that distributes Rainbird products across the UK. My job role is kind of leading the CirrusPRO platform in the UK. So I deal with all the installations and demoing. And with us, we've also got Johan. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself, Johan.
Yeah, thank you, Angus. Thank you. So my name is Johan. I'm the service manager for Europe, Middle East, Africa, and India for Rainbird. I am now the head of the team of what we call GSP or Rainbird services for Rainbird. We have a team of 4 people, soon 6, to support you. Everybody speaking English. We are responsible for supporting you with landscape product and golf, especially CirrusPRO. We are more than happy to help you to get the best from the best product in the market. And here today, I will be here with you to present the new features of 2 versions. And now back to you, Angus.
Perfect, thank you. So yeah, as Johan mentioned, he'll be covering the new features. So it's a little bit of a different session than usual because everyone on the call who has been invited to the call are all CirrusPRO users rather than previously we've done non-CirrusPRO users as well. So we could be a bit more focused in our approach today. So I'm going to do a short 10-minute demonstration on the key questions I get asked. Hopefully some of them are relevant to you, some of them might not be, but we're just trying to cover it for all users. Then Johan, as he mentioned, is going to cover version 4.7, which you will have installed now on your system, and also version 4.8, which is due to come out in the next few weeks. And he's going to cover a few kind of really key features on that, so you can get the most out of your system from whenever you get primed up and ready to go. And then at the end, we're going to be having a short Q&A. So feel free to type in the chat box any questions throughout the whole time we're both presenting, and then we'll get to the questions at the end. And then obviously there's no silly questions, so feel free to ask anything, and especially with Johan from GSP here, he's one of the best people to have on the call to answer any technical questions. So I'll start by just sharing my screen. So just give me one moment and I will share my tab. And hopefully you can see that. Johan, if you can confirm. Yep, all good, perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with, as I mentioned, going through a few of the key features or the key questions that I get asked on a day-to-day basis from CirrusPRO users. And the first question that I get asked a lot of the time is, how do I add a user? And then once I've added the user, how do I change their profile settings to kind of be customized to that user? So to add a user is really, really simple. You can do it remotely from your phone, or you can do it on the central control PC. But we head up into the system settings tab. We select on that and we come down to admin. Once you open up admin, we can see a list of all of our current users on the system. And to add a new user, we just simply clicked on the plus button and we work our way down from the username, email, and password. And then we just supply the kind of URL login to our members of staff, and they can log in with the information they've inputted in there. Johan's going to touch very briefly on some of the new access levels that are due to come out. So I'll leave that one with him, but that's how you add a user. Once you've added a user, the first thing you want to do is head into the user profile settings so that you can customize that user. As you know, CirrusPRO is kind of a fully customizable platform, and any settings you change under a user profile or a user's profile only changes for that user. So you might want to work in liters per minute rather than your boss who works in meters cubed per hour. So you can customize it to yourself. So if I just head in to the top right-hand side on the little icon, we can select on profile. So we head into profile. This now gives us a nice new overview, a new layout of customizing our account. So we can just work our way down the sections. So in this case, if I head straight to the customizations, the first thing you can see is the landing page tab. This is really powerful for people who are wanting to have quick access to their interactive map. So what some people do, and some people have done, is they create a separate login for their mobile phone or for their tablet that they're using out on the course. And then they can have it that if I change this to map page, every time I load up CirrusPRO, it instantly takes me to the interactive map rather than to the smart dashboard that we have. So you can do that on there. This is where we head to language and time. This is where we can customize language and time. So maybe you have kind of some people who have come from abroad to work for you, you can have customizable language. We'll change our date format. So when we are creating a new account in the UK, unfortunately, it seems to pre-populate as American. So we just need to change all that information so it suits us. We change our time format. So we can use 24 hours or AM, PM, and we can choose our first day of the week. And then the final section we like to cover is you can choose your units of measurements and your kind of units of area and Celsius or Fahrenheit. So again, just work your way down and choose your preferences, save it, and then again, only you will see that on your account. The next thing I'd like to head into, we get a lot of questions is how do I deep dive into my programs to make fine-tune adjustments? Many people are comfortable with creating programs, but to do that, you do just head into the Programs tab. Once that loads, we can then select on the plus button in the top right-hand side. Now, I'm not going to work through a program because Johan's going to talk to you a little bit about some of the new features you can actually see there at the bottom that's saying beta. But we add a program that way. But once we've added a program, let's move you guys out of the way. Once we've added a program, we can see the list of all of our programs here. So in this case, I've got a greens 4mm program, and I get a quick overview of how many schedules are in that program, the status of the program, the start time, the application type, and the days of the week it's due to run. But what I want to do in this case, I actually want to deep dive into that program and make some fine-tune adjustments. So maybe on my green, I've got an area that sits wet, or an area that's in shaded that we actually want to put less water down. So we can do that. So if I head in to my 19 schedules, we can then see every single hole and the number of stations on that hole assigned to that program. So again, if I want to change kind of fine-tune adjustments on the fourth hole, I can select into them stations, and we can see here our application amount, how many rotations, and our runtime for each station on that hole. But I can actually individually select a station, and I can edit it, and I can now edit the application amount for that single station in that program. So we can start to really, really fine-tune our system. Again, you can do this for water efficiency savings and also player performance or across your greens or across your course. So coming out from programs, I will just head to the interactive map. So if we just let this load, give me one moment. I'll access it a different way. A little bit slow. So once this loads, we can zoom in. So a question I get asked a lot of the time, and you guys may have a similar question, is how do I add stations and how do I also move stations? So maybe you've made some adjustments on your course, maybe you've added a new putting green, you want to add stations and areas to the map, and it's really, really simple. Before we do anything with the stations, we have to allow items to move on the map, because by default, that's disabled because we don't want to be moving things by accident on our day-to-day basis. So if we head to our 3 lines on the top left-hand side, we can go down to common layers. And so we select on the common layers, the little button here that says allow items to move. So once we've enabled that, we now have the ability to move anything on the map. So in this case, if I wanted to move this green sprinkler, I can start to move that wherever I am on my course. And if you're using a mobile device, there's a little button down here in the bottom right-hand side that has an icon with a hand in the air. If you select that, that will locate you to where you're stood on your course, and you can then drag your station to your GPS location. So you can kind of start to mimic geo-referencing of stations across your course. So quite a powerful feature. We can also add any areas onto our map. So in this case, if I just remove this area, so let's imagine we've got the 14th hole, and on the 14th green, we have yet to assign the area to the map. Again, really simple to do. We can select on the 3 lines in the top left-hand side, and then we head to station, and then we find the 14th hole, and we expand that. And a quick overview, we can see we've got the greens, tees, fairways, approaches, and surrounds there. And you see all of the kind of areas that have got this green box icon means that area has already been assigned to the map, so we can't assign that again. But the greens in this case has a little plus icon, so it means we can add that to the map. So it's as simple as dragging and dropping it onto the map. You can see there we've got a nice box added onto the map over the green. Now we want to edit that box to then be kind of customized shape to the shape of our green. So we can select on the box and edit the shape. So once we edit the shape, that now brings up these little circular icons for us to move on the map. We only want to move the kind of the deep white icons, these deep white icons, or the non-transparent icons first. So if I just start to move these, I'll zoom in a little bit so I can be a bit more precise. I'm moving the white ones first, and then I'll move the transparent ones secondly. The reason for that is when I start to move my transparent icons that I'll show you now, it adds a secondary point, so we can start to fine tune the area. See, the more times you move, the more points it adds. So start with the white icons and then work your way over to the transparent icons. So I'll just finish this up, get it fairly accurate. There we go. I don't want to be too spend all day doing that, and then select off the area. So in this case, I'm going to turn off allow items to move. That will then assign the area onto the map. So again, if you're adding any extra putting greens or chipping greens or anything you're adding as an area, or maybe you're expanding your irrigation system, you can then add things onto the map yourself rather than having to get a contractor or one of us to do that. We can also make any station edits from within the map. So we can do it in a listed view on our station list, but we can do it from when we're out on the course. So let's imagine we're up here on the 18th green. We're verti draining one day, and when we accidentally verti drain an IC module or a decoder module, and we've had to replace that module with a new. We've had to replace that module. Now we've got a new IC address that we need to input into the system, so the system knows where to read from. It's really, really simple to do. We can select on the station. Again, we can do this out in the field. Select the 3 buttons, edit, and this brings up all of our kind of details to edit for that single station. But down here, we can see the ICM address. We can open that up and we can actually input our new ICM address or decoder address. And once we've saved that, the system will then recognize that new module. We can also edit all of our sprinkler details from in the sprinkler details section. So again, anything you want to change, maybe you've changed the nozzle, you've changed the arc, we can do that all from the map. One other thing I just want to mention quickly is the reporting tab. So coming back away from the map, because Johan's going to cover a few new features coming out, so I won't need to cover those. But if I head into the reports, I think these reports at the moment are a little bit underutilized. We can run reports for a plethora of different things, such as yearly water consumption. We can run that for our whole course. We can run that for a single hole or a single area on a hole if we want to. We can also run rainfall reports. So those of you who have got a rain can on site, we can select on the rainfall report. We can run that. Let me just change my preference. I'm going to run that for last year's data. And you can see this gives us 2 figures or 2 lines. One line showing the intensity of rainfall, again, can be really useful. Where you can see maybe you've told the course manager you can't have the buggies out, and he said, "Oh, we've only had 5 mil of rain last night," but you can then demonstrate you've had 5 mil of rain over 10 minutes. So that's kind of where intensity comes in as being a useful tool, and it also gives us accumulation. And we can export all of this data as a PDF, as a CSV file, or we can share that directly to any contact in our system. There's a few different reports on there. We've got weather reports, and again, Johan will touch on a few new nice weather features. You may just mention them. And yes, so I think that's all I'm going to cover for now, because I know Johan's got a lot to cover. So I'll pass over to Johan in this case, and then feel free to add any questions as we go, and then we'll touch on them at the end.
Thank you, Angus. First, I'm going to try to share my screen, and you'll confirm when it's the case.
Yeah, let me just unshare mine. Yeah, you should be able to share.
All right. Is it okay now?
Yep, can see your screen.
All right. So today, thank you for joining the webinar, all of you. Today, I'm going to cover the features for 2 versions, 4.7 and 4.8. 4.7 is already installed on all your PCs at the moment, and 4.8 is going to be released within 1 or 2 weeks. So you will have it for this irrigation season. A lot of exciting things, so I'm going to present most of the features, but I would like to start with one that you do not see, but is very important, which is the change in your database engine. You were before SQL and now you are PostgreSQL. When I say this like this, I'm not insulting any of you or whatever. It's just the different engine of the database. It's been a big investment from Rainbird because it means that you can have a huge database and it will still build up and not reach any limitation. CirrusPRO is here to stay. Every watering logs, every new sprinkler you add, every stuff is going to be added permanently and saved in a successful way for the years to come. So that's a big investment for us to guarantee the non-obsolescence of your database. Now, I'm just going to display all the new features, and I'm not going to say if they are 4.7 or 4.8 because you will have all of those features pretty soon on your systems. The first one I want to talk about that's been requested for a long time are block routers. They are now available on the map. I'm going to show you how to do it. This feature is available for decoders, IC, and satellites. Doesn't matter. So here you have 15T1, which is a station. I am on the map, and here you would like to place the 6 heads of 15T1. So first thing, this is 15T1 here, and I can only place it once. I'm going to come to edit the station. You could do it through this menu or from the stations menu. This is the same. First step is to tell the system that you have more than 1 head per station, so that you are actually in a block system. Here I'm going to say 6 and save. The second step is to go to common layers and to make sure that block routers is activated here. So click it so it becomes green. Once it's done, go back to station, and here look what appeared. This small arrow you can open, and now you have 6 stations you can drag and drop with this small icon. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. So now this is how your block router is. You can see that 15T1 is not a head anymore, it's a valve, it's a symbol of a valve that is actually opening to irrigate those 6 stations. In terms of irrigation, it just works the same. You click here and you can still irrigate. It's just displayed in another way. So now, block routers available for everyone. While we are in the map, I'd like to talk about programs. You can now run programs from the map. So programs, you can run them. Here, if I want to start the greens 4 million, I'm clicking here and I can start it. But there is even more exciting than this. You can create a program from the map. So if you use at the bottom left corner this multi-select mode, let's select all the stations from 18 green and surround. Like this. And I want today to create a specific program. I have to click this icon here, create program, and we call it GMS18. And you can create a program from scratch, how you would do it usually from the program menu. So very good tool, once again. Also, another thing you have available that's new is your flow manager directly in the map and your potential unassigned stations. So this is something that I always repeat to our customers. The flow manager is actually the core of your system. So make sure you do not have any unassigned station like in this example. We are a demo system, so it's not a problem, but anything outside the flow manager will create perturbation in your irrigation and loss of control, and your data in terms of water consumption is going to be wrong. The number of stations that are going to open at the same time is going to be wrong. So use this flow manager. It's available now in your map. Check that everybody is assigned. If you have a doubt, I'm going to take an example. Imagine here 18G3 is not allocated, and you think it's the same way, it's in the same flow zone as 1816.3. You just need to click this one, edit, check which flow zone it is, FZ5055, and then you can go and modify it for this one the same way. This is how you should use all these kind of tools in the map. I think I'm just checking. I have notes that we are done for all the map features. Yes. All right. Let's move to programs. Oh no, actually decoders. We are going to Calcode Park today to check some new features, exciting feature for decoder courses. It's linked to diagnostics. Now, just like IC customers, you can run diagnostics from the map. Here, your on-off tests are available from the map directly. And that's a good thing because it was available for other types of system, and now it is for decoders. And also, we have new features for decoder troubleshooting in the decoder interface diagnostics. So system settings, diagnostics. For those of you that are comfortable with what we call now Cirrus Classic or Nimbus Classic, this is very likely to what you had before. You have a graph giving you the milliamp of your system. And this is very important because we can estimate the current you should have in a system linked to your number of decoder. And you have even better than this, you have the graph. So typically here, you observe peaks during irrigation, which is normal, but imagine we see some weird drops. It can be very, very good to have some particular, for example. Let's check between 6 yesterday and 9. Sorry, that's not what I wanted to do. And I said 9. Here you have a zoom where you can see irrigation is happening. But if we had a big drop that the interface was breaking or having an issue, we could see it. So that's very good for my engineers, but also for you when you have issues out there. Last but not least, this icon here, fault finding mode. For those of you that have decoder interfaces, you know that sometimes you manage to isolate a zone where you have an issue, but you need to go out with your amp meter to measure where the issue is actually. Is it a decoder that is defective, or is it a shortcut or a wire that has been unplugged or just not insulated anymore? So in these kind of events, you need to measure out there. However, our interface current frequency is around 1 Hertz, so you can't measure with usual tools. Now, when you click here, you can activate the fault finding mode. What does it do? It's going to stop any kind of irrigation, but it's putting a current that you can measure with your tools. So you start here. I'm not going to do it because it's a live system. You start it, and then you can go out there and find the root cause of your issue with your tools. So that's exciting features for decoders that have now the same capabilities in terms of troubleshooting as other interfaces. Then I wanted to talk about users, I think. Yes. So users, Angus started talking about users earlier, how to create new ones. I want to talk about two things in the users. First, the new password requirements. As you can see, now we are increasing our security as you would have in any other accounts you want. I think about your energy supplier, your phone provider. You must have a safe password, which is including many characters, one symbol, such as an exclamation mark, one number, uppercase and lowercase letters. So that's the first change, not the most exciting, but important. However, there is another big change. You've been asking, this is a feedback we get from you guys, course manager and greenkeepers. You wanted some basic user, someone that cannot modify all the system and mess around. Well, we have been giving you this. I will connect a bit later to this basic user to show you how different it is. So before the end of the presentation, I'll connect to a basic user account. Now programs. So we talked about programs on the map. We have been implementing a lot of changes, and I think for the best, in the programs menu. I think there was a lack of information on potential mistakes we could do on programs, and now everything should come directly to your eyes if there is any station that is duplicated. So I'm going to start with this small eye here. It's giving you the number of schedules that are disabled. We'll talk about this. If you have any station in the program without a runtime, so it means station that the irrigation time would be 0. They are still in the program, but they are not going to start. And last but not least, stations that would be in several programs at the same time. Here, this new toggle switch is to allow you to enable or disable a program. If you remember in the past, last season, you had to come here, edit, and activate or deactivate the program every time. Now you just have a one click to do it. Now let's go inside the schedules. For those who don't remember, a program is made of several schedules according to how many holes are inside this program. So I'm clicking inside the green 4 millimeters, 19 schedules. I can see 18 holes plus or 19, which is other areas. Inside this, once again, I get this feature of enabling or disabling a schedule. Let me give you an example of this. If tonight you want to irrigate only your front 9, because back 9 doesn't need it, but you want to keep the same program, you don't want to modify the millimeters and create another one, you just need to deactivate, misclick, your back 9 in the schedules, and it will only irrigate the front 9. That's one more thing. You could also create another program, that's up to you. Again, we have this small information here telling us we have some stations that are in multiple programs, 5 of them. But we have no station without a runtime, which is good. So this is to help you because there was, it's better now, it's easier for you to see if you have stations that are in 2 programs. We have also added some key features, one more time requested by you guys, in terms of advanced programming options. First of them is pretty simple to explain, is ignore cycle and soak. I'm not going to learn you what cycle and soak is, but it's set up in the course and in the station database. It means when you create 1G1, you are going to ask for a cycle of 3 minutes and a soak of 15, for example. However, you are going to create, for example, a particular program like a syringe or something like this, when you just don't want this cycle and soak. You want it to irrigate for 10 minutes in a row. You click this, and it will not perform the cycle and soak. It will just irrigate normal. Before talking about the 2 new progressions, which are forced and vertical, I have to tell you what is the standard when you don't click this. At the moment, the standard for Rainbird is horizontal progression. What does it mean? Maybe it will be better with this completed. All right. Last week, do we get something? No stations. Excellent. Well, I don't get any irrigation. Maybe here. Let me. Or here. Yeah, I did irrigation to show you, but yes, all right. That's what I wanted to show you. So here we are in the green. Horizontal progression means that we are going to try to open the maximum of valve in the maximum of holes. So here, still according to your flow manager, imagine in a situation where we could open 18 valves at the same time, we would open every time one here, one here, one here, one here, and so on. This is horizontal progression. A vertical progression, here, instead of this, I'm going to try to open as many as I can for hole 1 before starting to open hole 2. For sure, we still take flow manager is still the decision maker. If I can open 2 here and 1 here, this one will still open. But there will be a priority to finishing hole 1 before going to the next one. This is vertical progression. And for force progression, you literally say, if you have a cycle and soak, you want it to finish a station before going to the next one. It's even more strict. And it is included, as you can see here, program menu here. And if you don't remember what I said, we put a small explanation here for all of them. So that's, I think, 2 key features before this season. I'm just checking my notes before going to the basic user. Okay, yeah. One more thing. Some of you are using the notes. So going to station menu, we can now have an history of the resolved notes. Before, when you were adding a note in the map, like please change nozzle to 32 for 1G1, once you were solving it, it was going nowhere and you had no tracking. If, let's say, you have a spot in 18G1 where often you need drainage and you want to see how many times within the year you've been talking about this, you can have some history here of what were the nodes before that have already been resolved. So a good thing to have in mind, you can have a tracking of the precedent issues and nodes. And here, a very, very good feature that's been added. In the programs, I told you that you could see if some stations were in several programs. You can also do it from the stations menu. Now you can see that 1G1 is in 8 programs. It will avoid you guys to have some double irrigation sometimes, which has been happening in some clubs. And it's hard to see because you see it after it happened in your activity and completed results. Now you can see it before. So anticipate this kind of potential issues. I think we are done for the key features. I'm just going to create with you a basic user and show you how it looks. So, test basic. And so now the password is more complicated, even for me. And we make him a basic user. I'm going to log out. and log in as test basic. So the idea behind it was to give someone the power to irrigate without giving him the power to change your database and have effect on your potential future days of irrigation or how it's set up. Please keep in mind that all of you are GSP customers. If something happens to your database, a mistake, you replace something that you didn't want to and you want to go back, we have your database saved daily. So we can bring you back by 1 day, 2 days, 1 month. That's very easy for us. So please feel free to call if you have a doubt on this. So now what can our basic user do? So he just has the same access as you are in terms of dashboard. If he goes to the course, he can see the list, but if he tries to modify, he can just see and not change anything. You see, you cannot save. So he can just actually have a look at things. For programs, this is the same. He can see the programs, he can go inside them. Look, he cannot create. And if he edits, he cannot change anything. So this guy can look, but he can also irrigate. If he clicks here and start a program, it's going to work. If he goes to the map and start station from the map, here, for example, it will work too. So what you have to keep in mind is this basic user is the guy that I want to be able to irrigate but not change my database. Use the program but not change at what time it's going to start. And finally, he doesn't have any access to the admin, so he will not be able to create other users, not be able to change the level of other users. I think this is it for me in terms of explanation of the new feature, but I'm more than happy to answer any of your question. I'm going to give the space back to Angus. Go ahead and please tell me.
Perfect, thanks, Johan. That was excellent, and I think it's promising that all the new features come out, and all of the feedback for most of the new features have come from people in the field. So please feel free to keep feeding back to us of new features you think you'd like to see, and also we can feed that back to Johan and his team at GSP to potentially get those implemented. So that'd be great. If anyone's got any questions, please feel free. We haven't had any questions come through just yet. This morning's group had quite a few questions. We have recorded this session, so I'm hoping if all goes well, we're able to share that with you on an email so you can go for everything again, because I know for us, it's easy because we do it on a day-to-day, but to get a hang of things, sometimes it takes a few times to learn. I'll just wait 1 or 2 more minutes because I can see someone is typing. So we'll see what question they're asking and see if we can do our best to answer it for you.
So yeah, in the meantime, while we wait for questions, as Angus said, any feedback we get from you, we are escalating in terms of feature requests. We really want this product to keep evolving in the years to come. It's not always coming in 1 or 2 weeks because we have different priorities to deal with, but we really want this product to be the best for you guys out there. So thank you for everything you've been giving in terms of feedback.
Yeah. So just have one question come through. So it's actually a very similar question we got asked in the last session is, how do you find out the yearly water consumption for, say, just 1 green in total or greens? So that's really simple to do. So Johan will just demonstrate. If he heads into the report section, there's actually a yearly water consumption report you can run. So when you open that up, the first thing you can do is you can select your course. So in this case, we're selecting Hadley Wood, and then you can select your holes and your areas. So if you want to just look at the first hole on the 1 to 9, you just click number 1, or you can look at all of your holes or as a group. You can select them that way. You select as much or less as you like, and then you select the areas you want to be included in that report. So in this case, Johan's running a report for the first hole and just the greens on hole 1. So you can run that report there. And if you want to, you can select it all and have the total report. And then, as you say, or as we said earlier, you can export that to a PDF, CSV, or you can share that directly to any contacts you've got in the system.
Yeah. Quick word about the contacts, as we did this morning. It's not something we talk about a lot. The contacts is not for you guys in terms of course manager. It's more for people you would like to share information with, but you don't want them to interfere with your programming and your irrigation. I'm thinking about the president of a golf club, a chairperson. You can add them in the contacts. It's for your information, it's in your profile. And then you can share documents directly with them in their email. So I'm just going to quick look at the contact, profile, contact. You add someone here. He will not have access to CirrusPRO. However, it will be an easy job for you to send him some key reports like this, like weather, water consumption, some things that the chairperson or owners could like to have. Less job for you. Anything else?
Yeah, sorry, just a follow-up question saying how can you do the water for a total of all the greens, say 1 to 18? So it's exactly the same method. You head back to the reports, Johan did the yearly water consumption. When he's selecting his area, he will select every single hole. So when he selects his holes, he will select every single hole. So he select there all holes 1 to 18, and then he'll choose just the greens as the area, and then you can run that report. It'll take a little bit longer because she's pulling more data. So that's why we're a little bit of delay there. Now that's pulled the water consumption for each hole. Please bear in mind that this is theoretical water consumption. So if you've been out there and you've hand watered and you've manually turned on or opened a valve, then it's not going to calculate that water being used. But anytime you've digitally or remotely turned on a station or a valve, it will track that water usage.
I'm glad this question came up because I should have showed this. I know it's been a big feedback from the customers. Before you only had the details one per one, but in the new release you get this small summary on top, which is making, I think, a huge difference. So yes, finally, guys, you will have your total available without having to do the addition yourself, and I think it's a great addition. So yeah, thank you for this this question, great one.
Perfect. So we just got someone typing in the chat. So we'll wait for that question to come through if it is a question, and if not, we'll end the session. There. Just wait a moment.
No worries.
Feel free to. I'll send an email out at the end of this session. So feel free, and I'll CC in Johan if he doesn't mind. So feel free to send any questions our way, and we'll get back to you. Or I can give you a call, or whatever's easiest. So just said we are doing as you have shown, but we're getting an individual breakdown of each hole, not a greens. So obviously you're getting a breakdown there. Is there a total section that does the total summary rather than the break? Yeah, so you've got the summary tab on the top. So James, it may be because this might be coming out in version 4.7 with the new tab on the left-hand side, or version 4.8. So your system may have not been updated to include this. So that might be the reason why you're not getting the total summary and you're getting the individual breakdown.
Yes, this is exactly this. This is brand new. You will have it for the season. It's just that 4.8 is about to be released. It's now live in all our field tests, and we are satisfied about this. So it's about to come out. So today I wanted to introduce you to those new features that are very. I'm not talking in a few months. I'm talking weeks. So it's almost there.
Yeah, perfect. And will that be an update they do themselves, or will that be something GSP will be doing for them?
It will be pushed it will be a half and for some of them it will be pushed and will be automated. For some of them we'll just connect and do it ourselves.
Perfect.
But okay. We'll be there. Anything that any help required, you call us. All good.
Lovely. Perfect. So I think that's the end of the questions. Thanks for your time today, everyone. I really appreciate you joining us, and hope you found it valuable. And thank you, Johan, for taking your time to present to everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.